Welcome into the show today. Thank you for making this podcast part of your day. Hit that subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube or somewhere else. Thank you for going on this podcasting journey with me. The NFL draft is in a week from tomorrow, and it's an event filled with NFL organizations trying to make promises to ownership groups and NFL fan bases about this next player becoming a cornerstone franchise piece and the next step to a Super Bowl run, regardless of where teams select in the draft. If you're the Tennessee Titans, you are selling your franchise and the fan base that Cam Ward's the franchise quarterback of the future. If you're the Minnesota Vikings, at pick 24, you're selling your fan base and ownership group that the player they select is going to be the final piece to the puzzle to win a Super Bowl. And this season is all about the season of hope. The season of drafting a guy, making a calculated risk, and selecting a player that you think could be a player. And then they have their press conferences, and then they speak to the media and say, I want it more than anybody. I want to be a successful player. I'm so glad this team drafted me. I just want to prove this team right and prove my doubters wrong. You could literally write a script for every single thing that these players say at their press conferences. But there's a new mock draft that came out. There's more mock drafts than Anthony Edwards' technical fouls or the amount of times Anthony Edwards complains throughout an NBA game. But this mock draft is special because it's the mock king of all mock kings, Mel Kiper, the dude that knows every single player on the front and back of his hand. But first, I need to tell you about 5 Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis. My wife and I needed a bathroom remodel badly. But here's the thing. We didn't want to squeeze into our downstairs bathroom for 6 weeks until this project got taken care of. We didn't want a major part of our house to be under construction for 7 weeks. We don't have that time. We wanted something done fast and done right. And then we found 5 Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis. 5 Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis transformed our bathroom in 48 hours. You take a look at the before and after pictures. And the before pictures showcase mold in the shower, an ugly step to get into the shower, outdated, handbars everywhere, gross sink, just nasty, an embarrassment. And then voila, updated floors, new bathtub, new shower surround, a double vanity sink, a new vanity color. Our house was updated in 48 hours, and we were using our bathroom in 2 days. 5 Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis. They get the job done right. They get the job done quick. You couldn't ask for anything better. Plus, they have affordable payment plans, and it's a free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Call 5 Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis and get a free consultation and see how you can improve the value of your home in just 48 hours. All right, so Mel Kiper. And this is the direction that I also anticipated the Minnesota Vikings going in months ago. And last year, I think it was pretty obvious who the Vikings were going to select in the draft. It was going to be some sort of quarterback. But months before the NFL draft, months, I'm talking about the end of the NFL regular season, and at the end of playoff time, I'm like, the Vikings are selecting J.J. McCarthy. He just looked like a Viking. And when you added up the pieces to who was going to be available for the Vikings at number 11, they traded up to number 10. J.J. McCarthy seemed to be that guy. Drake May was going to be off too early. Jaden Daniels, no chance. And Caleb Williams was obviously going number 1. So really, the quarterback options were really down to McCarthy and Bo Nix. Michael Penix Jr., not really, because he was already 24 or 25 years old, and there's really not a whole lot of time of development there. He's pretty much got to be ready to play. And this year, you look at the options for the Vikings and the direction that they could go. I've seen mock drafts that have mocked safeties and corners and defensive tackles to the Minnesota Vikings. But the player or position that I think makes the most sense is adding a left guard to the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. When you look at the direction of the Vikings this offseason, they added corners, they added defensive tackles, they re-signed Theo Jackson, they let Cam Bynum walk. They've got Harrison Smith coming back for another year. Those spots or positions on the Vikings roster seem to be solidified, at least for the next year. The offensive line, 4 out of 5 positions are solidified. Christian Darrisaw, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, Brian O'Neill. Blake Brandel? Is that who the Minnesota Vikings want as their starting left guard to open the season? Right now, the Vikings are going through the list of options available. We could trade back and get a corner and do this. We could draft where we're at number 24. And a large part of it is really going to be factored in by where these players go off the board. If the left guard that the Vikings want to select at number 24 goes off the board at 20, well, maybe then the Vikings will look to trade back and try to get multiple players. But if he's still there at 24, maybe the Vikings stick and select their guy that they have the most faith in that could be a good NFL player. But with the 24th pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Donovan Jackson, guard, Ohio State. That's Mel Kiper's mock. And it's not about who the player is. It really never is. Because, as I've said before, and I'll say again, we have no idea who's going to be good. We have no idea who is not going to pan out in the NFL. General managers don't even know. Owners don't even know. Players themselves don't even know. So how are we supposed to know? But when I look at mock drafts and the player the Minnesota Vikings select in the draft, it's not about who they select, but more about the direction that they are telling us they're going with the selection of their pick. With McCarthy being the assumed starter in training camp, in OTAs, and in the regular season, securing the left guard position becomes of utmost importance, especially because the Vikings are the last to the table in terms of who they are going to get as a backup quarterback to McCarthy. So if McCarthy goes down with an injury in training camp or preseason, like he did last season, the Vikings are the last of the table. Unless Aaron Rodgers holds out that long and the Vikings can bring him in. But because the Vikings quarterback options are so limited in terms of who their backup quarterback is going into next season, it makes the left guard position all that more important, because the last thing that the Vikings want to envision is Blake Brandel getting beat while the other four hold up perfectly in pass protection, and then McCarthy goes down with not even a season-ending injury, but an injury that causes him to miss 4 to 6 weeks. That's all it takes for an NFL season to spiral down a terrible direction. And of course, the Vikings organization could come with the excuse, well, McCarthy was hurt, we were looking good. But people could easily point back to this draft and say, you didn't protect him. You did not give McCarthy the best opportunity to succeed in the NFL because you left a gaping hole at the left guard position. And the Minnesota Vikings right now have an opportunity to double, triple, and quadruple stamp. You can't double taz. You can't double stamp a triple stamp. Or you can't triple stamp a double stamp. No. The Vikings have an opportunity to double, triple, and quadruple down their plan the entire offseason of securing the offensive line and giving the offensive line a massive upgrade compared to what it was last year. Because as far as defensive line goes, the Vikings are already upgraded. They're upgraded at corner. Safety, maybe they downgraded a little bit with Cam Bynum leaving. But Theo Jackson, I think, has a lot of fans within the Vikings facility, or else they wouldn't have given him a contract extension and trusted him to fill the shoes of Cam Bynum leaving. Josh Metellus is also there. So with the Vikings plan and with their signings already, and with the one massive hole on the offensive line, it's hard not to believe that the direction for the Vikings will not be left guard, because that is the one mystery position on the Vikings roster right now within that Vikings organization. So I agree with Mel Kiper, and I think that makes the most sense, that the Vikings target a left guard and establish one of the best offensive lines in football for a first-year starting quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. And Kevin O'Connell's an offensive guy. And it also helps establish the run game, which also helps McCarthy. So you add up the pieces, and offensive line is that piece the Vikings need to add in the NFL draft. Hopefully he plays well, and hopefully the hope that the Minnesota Vikings are trying to sell becomes a reality when the guy takes the field. All right, thank you for watching this episode and for making this podcast part of your day. Remember, 5-Star Bath Solutions of Minneapolis. Check them out today to get your bathroom remodel done right and done fast. It's the most convenient remodel ever. Take it from myself. Thank you for watching and for making this podcast part of your day.